Good morning children. How are you all? Had your breakfast? Okay, good. Welcome back to our online session, lesson number 3, and this is the second day of lesson number 3. I asked you to learn some of the important lines which are very important for locating of places, particular places and timing. Those lines are called imaginary lines, parallels and meridians. Parallels and meridians are nothing but latitudes and longitudes. And in that latitude, very longest latitude is called the equator, and the longitudes are Greenwich. Okay. So these lines are very important children to learn about the lesson 3, Earth movements. Earth, how it is moving, what are the movements and the seasons. For this first we have to learn. Once again, roughly shall we draw the latitudes and longitudes? Just look at here. This is the circle, means like a hemisphere. And this is another circle. So this is the North Pole and the South Pole. These poles are North and South poles and latitudes. These lines are called latitudes. And the longest latitude is called equator. So this is the equator. And once again, North Pole, South Pole. And the important lines, imaginary lines, these are called longitudes. These are running from north to south. These lines are running from north to south. These lines are called, these two lines are called imaginary lines, and these are latitudes, means parallels, longitudes means nothing but meridians. So equator, the longest latitude is equator, and here Greenwich. Very good. So this area, North Pole and the South Pole, where it is near those poles, the areas, some areas are located there. Some countries are there. Those are called polar regions. Because already in the previous class I told you, here also they have the days and nights. But here what happened, those areas are not receiving more heat of the sun. Right? So here one more thing what you have to learn is how the rotation is taking. That rotation already in the previous class I asked you to do the activity with the help of your brothers or sisters. Have you done children? Rotation, revolution. In the rotation we'll get day and nights. In the revolution we'll get, yes, seasons. And depends upon the seasons, months only, we'll get the festivals. And different seasons we are getting different types of fruits, vegetables, flowers, different material which we are getting, and we are feeling hot, cool, wet, means rainy season. All these seasons, because of the season only we are feeling all this. Am I clear? Okay. And the very important thing, how you are learning the latitudes and longitudes, like that only, you have to learn directions. Directions also very important children. How many directions we have? There are 4 main directions. children, for each and every map there is an indication that is called the index. In the index box and some of the symbols which they will show the arrows, all those, and they will give the particular place and in which direction it is. They will give. So first you have to find in the index box. Okay? So these directions are very, very important. And one more thing what you have to learn, already I told you yesterday, what is that means? The earth is rotating on its own axis. So on its own axis, when it is rotating, it will take one rotation 24 hours time. In 24 hours we will get, it calls nights and days, day and night. And the revolution is around the sun. So this activity is very, very, very important. Why? Because everyone will remember by doing this activity. Practically if you will do, you never forget this. So coming to latitudes, longitudes and the directions, everything I think you are able to understand. So after understanding this, may I ask you one question? How the seasons we are getting? How the seasons are occurred in the bird? By this rotation and the revolution of the earth. Yes. So, shall we see here? The earth goes around the sun on a regular path. Means also called orbit on a level plane in open space called the orbital plane. Means the earth, when the places are there, suppose say children, when it is rotating around the sun revolution, when it is taking the revolution, so this is the sun. So the earth here, the earth is only one earth, but just I want to show this how it is taking the revolution. This is the sun. Around the sun, how it is taking the revolution. You have to find by changing of, see, it is called the orbit. The earth is rotating on its own orbit. Means nothing but it is a path. The earth rotates. So, these are called the seasons. When these are changing, these are moving, revolving, they are getting the seasons. Clear? And as the earth revolves around the sun, earth axis remains still in the same direction throughout the year. Tilted throughout the year in the same direction. And always the earth rotates one thing, always the earth rotates from west to east. Here, it keeps pointing to the pole star. Pole star means which can be seen in the northern sky in the night, and it is called the polarity of axis. Clear? You have the idea about the axis and how it is rotating with the help of the axis. And when we will see that in the sky, that is called the polarity of axis. During some months, means especially like June, the June which northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, while in some months it is tilted towards the southern hemisphere. So, I think you have the idea about the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. See here, this is our earth. Okay? So here we are dividing into 4 hemispheres. How many hemispheres we are dividing? 4 hemispheres we are dividing. So in this 4 hemispheres, top is northern hemisphere, bottom will be southern hemisphere, eastern hemisphere and the west hemisphere. So see here, 2 halves. I made it the next session I am going to give you for learning part. And activities, always drawing the latitudes, longitudes and the revolution rotation activity you have to do up to completing of this lesson. So, the sun is fall vertically on the equator in the March and September on the Tropic of Cancer and in June on the Tropic of Capricorn in December. So, this belt extending from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn is called tropical belt. What do we call it? Tropical belt. On March 21st, look here, very important thing. On March 21st and September 23rd, November, throughout the world, means the day and nights are equal in size. So these are called equinoxes. When we move to the north and south directions from the tropical belt, we can find the moderate temperate zone. So this is also very important. When we are moving to the north and the south directions from the tropical belt, we can find what type of temperature. Temperature means you know. Moderate temperature is there, more heat, like that. So we will find the moderate temperature. And as the earth axis are inclined, there is a daytime for 6 months and night time for the 6 months in the polar region. Actually here in the polar region, actually the sun rays are not, the sun heat of the sun is that the area is not receiving more. Then also there also nights and days are there. So here this is the important thing, children, which you have to learn into this session, and you have to complete these important points and learn more and more important points from this lesson, which is very useful to you. And learning of this Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn is very important. And this Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn I will let you know in the next session. Bye.